live. The bar is moving.
It seems to be working. We are on time.
Isn't that nice?
Hi.
Are you there? We're here. And we are knitting again. Is anybody surprised at this point?
No.
I'm actually a little surprised I'm not knitting, but we'll talk about that.
I was going to say, none of us are really multi-craftual, but that's a lie. We're all multi-craftual.
We're all multi-craftual.
Yeah.
It's true.
We just don't multi-craft on the pod.
So welcome if this is your first time here. Oh my god, hi! Nice to meet you. This is Purl Perspectives, and we are 3 real-life friends who get together and knit on and off camera. And every 2 weeks, we put up a video or we go live and we share what we're making with you. Yep. So thank you for being here. Yep. And nice to meet you again. Put in the chat where you're from, what you're doing. We'd love to know because we are nosy.
We are. Yeah, we are. My name is Allie. This is Carine. This is Anahí. And we are the 3 pearls of Purl Perspectives.
Yeah.
Because we got lots of perspectives.
We have almost too many opinions.
Too many.
I don't really have too many opinions. Maybe out loud. I feel like you can have too many opinions out loud, but in your brain?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
I am wearing something special today. Socks that Allie made.
They look so good on you.
They are pilling, so I need to I have a gleaner.
I got a glean my shirt, too.
I have a gleaner, so I have to de-pill them.
Mm-hmm.
But they fit so nice.
Y'all, make friends with people who have different feet sizes than you, because when you accidentally knit a pair of socks too small, they don't just sit there. They actually get worn.
Yeah. They get worn by your friend that has unreasonably small feet.
Yeah, this has happened before, where you've actually exchanged socks.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, when you gave me these, I gave you a pair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was way too big for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, no, okay, I remember what happened with those pair. We were test knitting the same pair of socks, and you were just having so much fun doing the pattern that you didn't start the heel in the right place. You did the heel, like, so 2 pattern repeats, like, later than you should have. And it was the first sock, so you're like, oh, well, I'll just make the second sock to match. And then after they were done, you put them on, and they were like, the toes were flapping, and you're like, I can't wear these.
But not only that, I also was off on the gauge.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to use the needles that were indicated by the pattern, because, again, we were testing.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have known that my gauge wasn't going to match, because it never does. I'm a loose knitter. Wink, wink. So they were also too wide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thankfully,
they fit me.
They fit
quite perfectly, actually.
Yeah.
They fit me quite perfectly. I was going to wear knit socks today, but I didn't because I was already wearing a knit shirt. And I was like, is that too much knitting? And then, no, it's not.
Girl, what you talking about?
But it's like, it's not, like, it's cool, but it's not cold. So I was worried that I would overheat while sitting here on your couch. And also, Bilbo's fur.
Bilbo is our mascot, my dog. Mm-hmm. He's adorable.
Cutie patootie.
But oh boy, does he shed.
Yep.
Yeah.
He walks around and there's like a cloud of little fur.
It's really funny.
Here. It's crazy. The dust bunnies at my house are more like dust
puppies?
Moose.
Puppies?
Moose.
Or like little tumbleweeds. Like,
exactly.
Rolling through that's what I see when I see, well, not anymore, not as much now, but like same thing when you have cats. Like it's just, when it's shedding season, it's like tumbleweeds going through. I guess it's shedding season.
Guess it is.
Cute.
Oh boy, I just split my yarn. I'm gonna do something that, don't do this at home if you're not sure.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's smart. Do that. So Annie is working with 100% untreated wool, which is why she can do this technique of using spit to help bind the fibers back together, because what she's doing is she's wetting the fibers, and then by rubbing them together she's creating friction between the fibers.
Correct.
Which is then creating a little bit of a it's like felting them back together.
This is called a spit splice. It could work with water, but I don't have a cup of water available to me right now.
And I wouldn't recommend dunking your yarn in your tea.
No, because I do want to continue drinking.
That I can't imagine would be a smart idea.
Cheers to you. I'm having a creamy Earl Grey in my Big Daddy cup.
What did you give me?
This is apple, rosehip, strawberry tisane. So it's like an
herbal tea.
Mm-hmm.
I just trust her instincts.
fancy lemonade from the
Fancy
deli.
lemonade.
Yeah, I do this thing like almost every time we sit down for podcasting, where I have something happening in the morning, and then instead of being smart and like making myself a lunch at home, I rush out the door, stop at the deli for a sandwich, and then rush over here, and then like eat the sandwich really quickly while Bilbo is just staring at me. Mm-hmm. And it's been several podcast weeks now where I've done that, and so I think that's just the way it has to be from now on.
I think we're just gonna have to get used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know,
It's really good sandwiches though.
I don't think Bilbo's gonna get used to you
no,
eating the sandwiches.
He's gonna not be happy about
eventually
that.
he's gonna be
jelly.
like
100%.
Like, I can't even sit down on the couch to eat the sandwich because he came up onto the couch and was like, feet on my lap like this.
with puppy dog eyes.
With puppy dog eyes.
Bill was currently on a quick walk. He'll be back in no time, so you will see him. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But like I said, we are knitting.
Yeah, we are.
Allie, what you making?
So, this is a project that I have shown several times on the podcast before. It's going to look a little weird right now. So, this is a triangular shawl. Ooh, let me
You're
just
covering
make
your
sure.
face, bud.
Oops, sorry. This is a triangular shawl called the Manuia.
The Manuia.
It's a brioche shawl. It's like a good intro to brioche shawl. And I'm actually at the part now where I'm picking up stitches along two sides so I can do the I-cord edging, which is why it looks a little weird.
It like sheens.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
love it.
So this is actually this is like pretty much an entirely local project now that I'm working on it. Because this brown fading into, if I flip over this side, you can see more of the color. This,
like gold and teal.
yeah, the brown that fades into the gold that fades into this like first blue teal here is Crazy About Yarn, Sarah. She's based in the National Capital Region as well. The dark blue is from Le Laine Biscotte, which is a chain of yarn stores, one of which just recently opened across the river in Gatineau, so that's also in the National Capital Region. And this blue, this beautiful, like, more subtle teal that I'm using at the very end this color is from Alley Cat Yarns, who's also in the National Capital Region. So this is a very
like
Ottawa
a fully
based.
This is like, fully local.
I've worked on it
shawl.
on the pod a couple of times before, and I just, pick it up, do a couple of rows here and there. But recently I was like, I'm so close to being done. Why don't I just finish it?
Yeah.
So now I am. I'm just picking up the stitches for the last row, and then I can do the I-cord, and then I'll be done.
I love it.
So
Nice.
hopefully by the end of tonight, I will have a finished project.
Can I hold a little tip of where you started?
It is over here.
Okay. Because what I love about this pattern that you've got going on is that it starts in garter stitch over here. Then it goes to one color brioche, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Then two color brioche.
Yep.
Then increases and decreases brioche.
Yeah.
So
It's
by the end of
literally-
this project, you're an expert.
Yeah, I was gonna it's
In the
literally
fisherman-
like
Brioche a bit better
Yeah.
here.
Also, some people have asked us in the past what brioche is. It's also known as the fisherman rib.
Yep.
So if you see some vintage patterns that call for fisherman rib, it's the same as this.
Yeah.
it. I think I don't know why they call
It's really
it.
great.
I
'Cause
like the
it's-
progressive challenge.
Yeah, I just like the texture. To me, it's my favorite part because it makes it so fluffy and cozy.
Yeah.
Like you just want to squish it.
And it's very much because of the way you work it, like especially two color brioche, you have twice the amount of warmth in the garment when it's completed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're double stranding it the whole way through.
And it traps a lot of air, right? It's very not chunky but fluffy. There's a lot of space in between the stitches.
Yeah.
It almost like when you touch it, it almost feels like, you know how you
really
touch
grows.
bubble wrap? And that sensation, like it kind of
Yeah.
feels like that a bit. I love it.
So
That
yeah,
is
this is
so
a project
cool.
that I started I think back in June, and I am committed to finishing it this
I
week.
love that for you.
Good for you.
Because I like every once in a while I do this thing where I sit down and I look at all the projects that I have in progress, and I'm like, at least a third of them are at 75% or more. I just need to sit down and like commit to finishing these. But then there's so many other new amazing patterns and yarns out there that I get sidetracked that I want to start. So I keep making these like bargains with myself where I'm like, okay, well if you finish 2 whips, then you can cast on something new. But then I get
Is
to the
that
point-
working?
No.
I had to ask.
No, it is not. Like, I mean, I get these bursts of energy where I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish a bunch of these whips. And it does actually work in a sense where I am not chaotically casting things on.
Okay.
So I suppose that's helpful.
Yeah.
But it really is just, like, what am I in the mood for? You know? That kind of thing.
I can never estimate with accuracy what I'm going to be in the mood for. It's anybody's guess. What are you working on?
Well, so this is the same thing that I was working on last time.
It's so beautiful.
Because it's a Christmas present. I'm...
You're in the middle of a row, too, which
Yeah,
doesn't help.
sorry, bud.
Yeah, sorry. So this is the start right here. It's a wrap. So at the end, there'll be 3 times this repeat.
Yeah.
It'll be finished 3 times. And then that's it. All I have to do is bind off. So it should be done within a week.
This is massive.
Yeah.
And no,
This is folded in half, by the way.
Yeah. It's
God.
it's very easy, quote unquote. Like it's not a hard.
Well, you've learned the technique and you've mastered the technique now.
Yeah, like it's not. It's just it's a joy to make in the sense that like although yesterday I spent a lot of time like correcting mistakes because I realized like sometimes you get so much into it you go fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like 50 rows down here you're like one of the stitches is like hanging by a thread instead of actually being fully like so I kind of did that yesterday because I can't do it so I actually went all the way down.
Laddered back?
Laddered down?
Yep, 3 times.
Fission?
3 times.
Because that's the thing, this is fission knitting, which is a specific technique.
So I'm becoming a bit of an expert on fixing my mistakes at this point.
Not a bad thing.
That's really good.
Not a bad thing.
But yeah, no, I'm so I think for me when we're talking about like what to work on and whips, I still have a few whips at home that are like that. I mean, we're not even going to talk about the muscle work that I have been. What is it? 3 years now?
Okay, babe, just bring that to knit night and then pass it around the circle and let everybody put a couple rows on it.
I would love to.
I honestly, for that one, I know what it is. It's really just a matter of I lost interest in it. That's literally what it is. I'm sorry. It didn't catch on for me. Versus,
not even as like commuting knitting?
Nope.
No,
I just can't.
okay.
Like, well, there's also the problem that I don't have a lot of time when I'm commuting.
Yeah,
Because I'm only in the train for about 10 minutes tops.
Yeah, but like 10 minutes is like a row and a half.
Well, there's also the fact that I suffer from transportation. Like,
right.
I get
nauseous.
like nauseous very, very easily.
Oh,
So in the
yeah.
train, if I'm sitting on the side, I'm fine. If I'm sitting like
facing forward
or backwards, not happening. In the train, it's a little better because it's more stable. But bus
you
or
take
anything
the bus,
else,
right?
yeah. No, I don't. I only take the train. But because it's only 10 minutes, I usually just go like whatever.
listen to your
Exactly.
music
So that one we're not going to talk about it, but I will one day. I'll finish it. But
Do you want it though? Is this something that's bugging you? You don't want it.
then just
no, I'm just going to give it to a friend. Like when I'm done, I'll give it to
okay.
somebody as a gift. That doesn't bother me.
Okay.
What actually I was going to say, what keeps me going with projects like this one that I've essentially been only working on since I started is because this is for someone else. So if I'm knitting something that's for myself, I tend to procrastinate because who cares when I get it. But if I know this is for someone and I know there's a deadline, in this case it's Christmas, then I'm like over focusing because I want to get it done. I tend to also do that when I commit myself. Because like when we left, this was after Knit City, Toronto.
Right.
When I took that fission class, and then afterwards I said
fission.
fission. After I said I already see myself doing like project after project for Christmas and
like a list of 6 or 7.
Yeah, and my mother-in-law was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it." And then she's like, "Okay," and everybody's like, "You're crazy." I'm like, and a part of me is like I need to do this just to prove I can do it to myself.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm pretty sure I'm done by now because at the end of this, the only thing I have left to do is
Cast off.
No, well, yeah, this.
You have
but
one more project.
I have one more project, and it's literally just this, like one section of this.
Yeah.
And it's a scarf,
Okay.
and it's much bigger yarn. So where this took me about
that's fingering weight yarn.
This will have taken me about a month. I think the other one's probably going to take me 2 weeks. Not even.
Must be nice to be a monogamous knitter.
So that's the thing.
relate.
I'm not always a monogamous
but
knitter.
you have one thing that tends to be your priority.
Yes, that's
right?
and it's usually whatever has my attention.
Yeah.
So if I'm knitting something for myself and then something else catches my attention, that thing just gets
You're gonna squirrel.
Got a big old
exactly
fluff ball
squirrel.
attached to your
Like
elbow.
that's literally what happens.
Yeah.
And it happens with yarn. It happens with projects. It happens with patterns.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It happens with things in general. Like it's definitely an ADHD.
Does
thing.
it happen to you with food? Because I have it with food a
100%.
lot. Sometimes I'm just like in the middle of doing something else, and I hear that Logan guy from TikTok like, sometimes you just have to eat an entire cucumber, and I get up and I eat a cucumber.
But it's true.
For you, Logan from TikTok, now I can't stop eating cucumber.
I mean, it's of all the things you're gonna eat, might as well.
Did you hear there was a run on cucumbers in Iceland?
What?
Yeah, he went so viral that it was like impossible to find cucumbers in Icelandic grocery stores for a while.
Oh my god, good for you, Logan.
Good for you for making people eat more. Cucumbers are delicious.
They're
anyway,
actually
so.
really
They do.
healthy.
I quite like them.
Yeah, I do love me some cucumber salad.
Yeah. No, for fruit, 100%. Yeah, but me, it's more like I'll eat something, I'll get obsessed with something, and I'll eat it for 4 days straight. The same thing, because it's like I'm obsessed with it, and then something else will come along, and I'll be like, okay, that's my next thing. Like I have no problem eating the same leftovers for 3-4 days.
I can't.
I think for me, it comes from. See, the difference is
No merci.
Yeah. When I was a kid, if you didn't eat your leftovers, you had no food. So there's that like scarcity thing where it's you don't waste ever.
Yeah.
So when I would make big batches, it's the same thing. 3-4 days of food, and you're not going to waste. My partner is exactly the same as you guys. He's like, nah, I can't do it 2 days in a row.
Like it's not that we won't do it.
Well, he won't. He won't.
If I batch prep meals for a week, I am eating the same chili for 4 days in a row. But that's more because I planned it that way because I'm lazy and I don't want to make large meals in the week. That's not because of anything else. But again, everybody's experiences are
that's
different.
True. So. Like for me, I think it's just it comes from like you got to finish your food and you don't have a choice, and then it became. If it's a recipe I'm obsessed with, then it's kind of like it pairs together, and then it's a case of like, this is it. This is all I eat for the next 3-4 days, and I'm okay with it because I love the recipe.
Well,
the mascot is back.
From his walk.
And Gerbo.
Yeah. He's not alone, by the way. He didn't go out by himself. My partner's taken him.
It's not like he went on a walk by himself.
Yeah, that's right. He's not that smart.
That would be amazing.
Bilbo, come. Touch. Oh, goodbye. Hi. Do you want to come on up? No, you're going to wait for a treat.
What?
Yeah. He always gets a treat after his walk. Oh. So, he will not forgive us if we don't give him one.
Well then.
Go on then. Go get it.
Food motivated. I can get behind that because I too am food motivated.
Yeah.
Who isn't?
Have I told you before how like sometimes when I go spend time with my mom, she's like, "Do you want to go to Tim Hortons?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then she's like, "Okay, we're gonna walk there." And I'm like,
"Oh, you got me again,
foiled again." Because she'll be like, "Oh, let's go get some hot chocolates," and I'm like, "That's an excellent idea." And then she's like, "We're gonna walk to the one, but not the close one. We're gonna walk to the far one." And I'm like, "You
damn it,
you human being who tricked me." No, yeah.
You've tricked me for the last time.
Except it's never the last time. It's literally every single time.
Damn.
I'm so oh my god. One of my
I feel
coworkers,
like she's got you figured out.
Okay, no, but one of my coworkers has realized that she can also do this because there was something a few like last month.
Okay, maybe you're just a little bit too transparent.
I'm like a puppy. No, she was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to McDonald's. Do you want to go to McDonald's with me?" And I was like, yeah, 100% I do." And then while we were walking back from McDonald's, she's like, "Oh, I need some help with this thing this afternoon. Can you help me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get up to like my elbows in a dirty project with you 100%. And then while we were doing it, I was like, "Oh, you asked me to McDonald's so that you could get me to help you with this gross thing.
You buttered
you got
me up.
bribed."
And she was
with McDonald's.
No, but she was honest. She was like, "Oh, 100%. Yeah." She's like, "That's why I asked you to come to McDonald's with me because I wanted you to help me with this thing." And I was like,
"You know what? Respect."
Yep.
Well,
yep.
At least she was
it's
honest.
She knows how to play the game.
It's effective.
She knows how to play
and I don't think there's anything wrong with it too.
Isn't.
I mean, like I also would be buttered up and softened up if somebody asked me to lunch first and then asked me for a favor. That's how you get to my heart.
I mean, I literally have a meme posted in front of my office that says this witch can be bribed with chocolate and yarn for my job. So if they want something done, all they got to do is give me chocolate or yarn, which they never do. It's always chocolate. But I don't care. I'll take it. Like, you can bribe me. Chocolate. Yes. I've had somebody pin an entire Lindt chocolate bar on the meme. And it took me like a whole day to figure out who it was. But at the end of the day, I found it.
Nice.
That's how you get bumped up the priority list.
That's right.
Pretty much, yes. Nice. Yes, I will make sure it's done.
Oh my god, I've been picking up so many stitches. I'm so close to
Where are you picking up? I thought you were casting off.
No, I have to pick up stitches along the bottom and along the side so that I can then do one knitted row and then the I-cord.
Oh,
okay.
That's going to look lovely.
It's going to look really cool.
Yeah.
But I think the pattern says that in the end I'll have 485 stitches.
Yay!
485?
Yeah, then I have to knit and then
Hot
I-cord.
diggity.
And guess what? I left my I-cord maker at home.
I have one, don't worry.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
there you go.
I was going to say, yeah, no, I don't have mine with me, but...
Well, I'm I haven't actually tried to use it yet on a project. I've tried to make I-cord by itself, which is going fine. But I haven't tried to use it on a project.
the applied I-cord, but I definitely made I-cord with the I-cord maker.
So
If you don't know, the I-cord maker is like a little
it's like 3 latch hooks
a little
and a
handle that has three or four? Three latch hooks at evenly spaced at the end of it. So what you do is you yarn over all 3 of the latch hooks and pull through, and it'll make 3 stitches at the same time. And when you do that again, and over and over and over again, you'll end up with an I-cord because every time you yarn over, you close the opening at the bottom. It's really clever. It came out, I think, last year. And I really like it. The only thing that I'll say is that there's a limitation on what kind of yarn you can use for it.
Yeah.
So, oh, there you go.
I wonder if you're going to see... Wait.
Closer to the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
This is kind of what it looks like.
So it's a base and it has 3 fine latch hooks at the top.
There's like a few different varieties.
You can only really use it with up to like a DK.
No, you can get up to worsted weight with that one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and then the creator, Autumn Goodman of the Size Inclusive Collective, has also made one with 3 hooks closer together, so you can do like lace weight and fingering weight.
I've seen that. But it's a really cool. It's a really cool tool. A cool tool.
Cool tool.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, on to the next thing. You're Nalbinding.
I am indeed needle binding, Nalbinding, or whatever you want to call it.
Tell us about it.
Well, my friends,
somebody really wants to know. Bilbo really wants to
know. You want to
He's
know?
running over
I
here.
think you want me to throw the duck. Okay. Ready? Hit it.
Pitter patter.
Love it.
Oh, he's in a mood. Love
Yeah.
that for you.
He is very happy to play right now.
Okay, listen. You can just come up here if you want. There he is.
Buddy.
There he is. Mascot. So I started taking this needle binding class with a lovely instructor called Miriam Tepper. And I registered through the Ottawa Valley Weavers and Spinners Guild.
Yep.
I'm not a member of the guild, not yet.
Yeah.
But we were just at their showcase this weekend, and I'm really close to getting a membership because it's really cool. And I've been meaning to learn Nalbinding for a while because I like collecting fiber arts like Pokemon cards. I want to have them all. And Nalbinding has been on my list for a really long time. Nalbinding is knots and knots over and over again that you tension the size with either the needle itself or with your thumb. In this case, I'm using my thumb. And it's really interesting because historically, examples of Nalbinding precede any examples of either crochet or knitting. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, historically there's been spinning first, then weaving, then Nalbinding, and then knitting and crochet. Yep. Depending on where in the world you're counting. Yeah. But it's been really interesting. It's been really a really fresh experience. I'm using this cool needle that I learned after having bought it that it's not ideal for Nalbinding. You want one that doesn't taper in at the bottom, and mine does taper in. But regardless, this is maple wood, and I got it from an Etsy seller in Barrie, Ontario, because I wanted something local.
Nice.
And they sell this kind of tapestry needles made entirely out of maple wood.
That's cool.
Very, very cool. And I'm using this Lopi yarn. What's interesting about Nalbinding is that you have to splice every few inches because, so for example, this is as far as I could get with one length of yarn.
What are you looking to make?
I'm looking to make
Like a mitten?
yeah, like a
Fingerless glove.
Fingerless glove.
exact
Yeah.
fingerless mitten.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really interesting. You have to just like get a big length of yarn, you splice it onto the end of what you've been working on before, you keep going. It only works in the round. You can't just go back and forth like you would knitting or
thought you
crochet.
could.
There is a way, but historically it works
wasn't-
in the round.
Okay.
So you're either making tubes or you're making circles or you're making some other circular shape. Yeah, because that's how you tack. You link each stitch under the one before. And so it needs to go around and around. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It goes hella slowly. The class that I'm taking is 5 weeks long. I'm 3 weeks in, and I have learned how to start, end, tension to different sizes, and increase and decrease.
Nice.
So, I think I'm on my way to
Yeah.
counting this one as being under my wing as a new skill.
One step closer to
I'm
being
really
a Viking.
excited.
Yeah.
Next up, Newfoundland. I really want to go to Newfoundland.
To
Yeah.
There's a Viking village there.
Lancemeadow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, so for those of you who may not know what Lancemeadow is, who are maybe not from the east coast of Canada, it is one of the oldest Viking settlements on the North American continent. It is on the north side of Newfoundland, the island there, and it dates back to, if I remember correctly, is it the 800s? I think it's the 800s.
I thought it was 17.
No, it's like,
No,
it's
it has
early.
to be way earlier than that.
Yeah.
I want to say it's the 800s, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's the 1200s.
Okay.
I thought it was the 800s. Yes, because the Vikings made their way from northern Europe across to Greenland and then down along the northeastern coast of what is today known as Canada.
Yeah.
So the Norse settlement at Lens aux Meadows has been dated to approximately 1000 CE.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, yeah. You weren't
Yeah,
too far
I was
off.
Pretty close.
With a mean carbon date of
990 to 10. Okay, so that's just your error rate.
yeah.
So if you visit Lens des Meadows,
Lens aux
Lancemeadow.
Meadows.
Lens aux Meadows in Newfoundland, you can visit this settlement that has been taken care of and maintained
It's
by
been largely recreated now.
largely recreated. That's good to know. By is it Parks Canada?
It's a Parks Canada site.
Woo, buddy! Yeah, by Parks Canada. Oh my god.
Just so excited. Just loves you so much.
Yeah, and he wants to play with his duck.
Give me here.
So if you visit there, you can go into this village and there's a lot of demonstrations of what they think people lived like back then in that settlement, in that village. And you can see how they cooked.
That's so gross, bud.
How they cooked, how they made their clothes. And that includes Nalbinding, weaving, rope making, cordage making, etc. I think some ceramics also. Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I am really excited to like maybe go and take a few
It's not
of
the
those
easiest
demonstrations.
to get to. It is
Well,
definitely.
boy, is it remote.
It's you know you got to get yourself into St. John, and then from there it's like a multi-hour car ride, because it's on the other side of the island.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but worth the trip, I've been told. I'm hoping one day to get out there.
I've never been, but it sounds worth it to me. One of those like bucket list items to do, right?
Yeah. Especially since it's like a part of Canada too.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, it's who was I talking to recently? I was talking to somebody recently, and they were saying that they really wanted to visit more of Canada, but that it's cheaper and faster to fly to Europe from like where we are in the
Which is
National Capital Region.
sad.
So like
when you
the
think
amount of
about
time
it.
it takes me to fly from here to visit my sister in Vancouver, that's about a 6-hour flight, depending on, you know, weather conditions and whatever. And then for me to fly from here to Heathrow, which is like the big main airport in London, of the United Kingdom, it's about the same amount of time.
That's not okay.
It's bananas.
Well, I mean,
Canada is large.
The thing is,
It can fit 14 Frances.
It can fit 14 Frances?
Okay, have you ever heard the Arrogant Worm song, Canada's Really Big?
Yeah.
No.
You gotta listen to it. I'm not gonna sing it for copyright reasons now, but it is very educational about how large Canada actually is.
Okay. What's it called again?
Canada's Really Big, and the band is called the Arrogant Worms.
Okay.
They're like a parody band kind of thing.
Okay, I love that.
One of my favorite songs from them is called The Pirates of Saskatchewan, which slaps. So anyway, I would definitely recommend, if you want some more Canadiana, the Arrogant Worms. Great thing to check out. Great band to check out.
But the problem isn't that Canada's big. The problem is that we are not encouraged as Canadians, I find, to visit, or there's not a lot of incentive for us to visit other parts of Canada because it's so expensive to travel within your own country.
Yeah.
There was a bit more incentive when we were
in the lockdowns.
In the worst of the lockdown. There was some effort from our province to do some staycation that you could then claim as expenses on your taxes, and you can get some of those expenses as returns.
But
which
is
that
nice.
Should really continue.
But like at the same time, that's still within your own province.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to British Columbia once, and it wasn't even to visit. It was just
to fly
layover to fly through, right? Like my mom had the opportunity while she was working for Canada Celebrations. She used to work for them, and every year they'd have like an event to discuss the next celebrations of Canada, and it was in a different province every single time. So she got to or territory. So she got to pretty much go everywhere in Canada. I was like,
that's cool.
And speaking of events in Canada,
something in our own backyard.
Yeah.
Great segue there.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that you were going to set me up that way, but it worked out.
Works out.
We are actually super, super excited because we've been thinking about expanding our activities outside of just the podcast. You know, our objective is always just to build community online and out of line.
Offline, yeah.
And offline.
Out of line.
And offline.
Rebels.
And so we're taking what for us is a big step. And we have set up an in-person event for all kinds of crafters here in Ottawa.
Yep.
And that's going to be next Sunday.
Yeah, we're super excited.
I don't know if you have seen on the Instagrams a lot of movies with the lights on for crafters. That they've been held predominantly in Australia. I believe the person behind it is the handle So Hooked Crochet.
Yeah.
There we go. And then more recently I've seen a couple in the States and in like Victoria, BC as well. And so we thought we'd take the leap and we'd organize one here in Ottawa. So we have rented out the Mayfair Theatre. This is a historic theatre in the Sunnyside neighborhood. So if you know where Carleton University is in central Ottawa, very close to there. It's a 300-person theater. We rented it out for an afternoon on Sunday, November 10th. We're going to be playing Mamma Mia.
And singing along.
Of course. And we're just really excited because, you know, the lights will be on. You can craft. You can sing a lot. Get up and dance, honestly.
Get up and dance.
I just might get up and dance.
Yeah.
And the lights will still be on.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be able to craft.
See your stitches.
And we'll just be having a grand old time.
A good old time with a fellow crafters.
Yeah. And we're really hoping that this is something that the community is receptive to so we can host more in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'd love to do that.
Yeah, the objective is to be able to like really see in person how many of us there really are.
Yeah.
Because I keep getting surprised about how many people I find in the wild.
Yeah.
That I know they are wearing a crochet sweater that they made themselves.
Yeah.
And I keep finding people that are wearing handmade stuff, or they're sewists, or they are painters or cross stitchers
because
or wood carvers.
We don't really have a big festival here in Ottawa the way other cities do. Like Knit City, for example, takes place in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, now Calgary as well.
Oh, yeah.
The fiber festivals that are closest to us out in Almont, at Twist, which is in Saint-André-d'Avelin in Quebec. Like, they're local to us in the sense that they're 45 minutes to an hour away. They're in small towns that are close to the National Capital Region, but the NCR itself, Ottawa itself, doesn't really have a big visible crafting scene, I don't think.
So there aren't many opportunities to just gather other than to shop for stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love shopping events.
Yes.
They're one of my favorite things to do is go to vendor events and like spend the money that I've been saving for it. But just the opportunity to gather with no pressure to buy something or to, you know, like,
and the
perform.
incredible shops that we do have here in the city, they put on amazing events, but they're kind of capped by the size of their space. So you can't have more than, I'd say, maybe 50 people gather. For example, Fabrications, which is one of the shops closest to us, they put on a really fun Worldwide Knit in Public Day every year in the summer. And they set up in the space outside of their building because it's in the summer. They can do that, put up a tent. But beyond those kinds of things, especially with the weather as we get into winter, having these large gatherings, we really don't have, like, these smaller indie shops can't really do that, which is no shade to them. Yeah. They're constricted by space and fire codes. So we're changing it up a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, we're changing it up. So if you want to come and hang out with us, we would love to see you there. Yep. It's on Sunday, November the 10th, here in Ottawa at the Mayfair Theatre, the historical Mayfair Theatre. And we are hoping this is the first of many, many more events. But we're starting small. We're pretty nervous. Like, it's nerve-wracking when there's this many people and, like, there's money involved because, of course, we're not swimming in $100 bills, so we can't just, like, pay for stuff and have everyone come for free. So, it's pretty nerve-wracking, but we are very excited to welcome everyone and get to know new friends.
Yeah, I think that's the part where, like, to see people who do the same craft as you or a similar craft as you, that's what, like, drives me a lot. Is to be able to say, like, hey, look, there's more like me.
Yeah. My people.
This kind of makes me think a little bit about back in May when we went to Knit City, Toronto. I took the train with Carine. And when I was on my way to the train station, I'm on public transit, and there's this woman seated across from me, and she's crocheting. And I leaned over to her, and I'm like, you heading to Knit City too? And she was like, what's that? And I was like, girl! So I took the, like, 3 remaining minutes along transit to tell her what Knit City was, and she got really excited, and she's like, oh my god, next year for sure, 100%. But yeah, it just feels like Ottawa, this is a void that we're hoping to fill for Ottawa. Yeah. For the National Capital Region.
Yeah! Hooray for community. It's hard. Like, we were talking to some friends over at Knit Night, because we host a Knit Night, a small group Knit Night, every Thursday, and someone there was saying how difficult it is to make friends as adults. Where 100%. Are they? Like, because, and I was thinking about, like, I miss recess. Because when you were in school, in grade school, you would just have recess.
Yeah. And twice a day, plus lunch.
Other kids, like, we just, like, sort ourselves out depending on what we were interested in doing at recess, because there were, like, the people that wanted to play soccer, or the people that wanted to, you know, do some other sports, or they wanted to like, go to the playground, or the ones that just wanted to sit and eat their lunch, or the ones that wanted to read, whatever it is that they wanted to do. You would just sort of, like, sit with whoever had the same interests as you, and you would just naturally become friends. And we don't have recess as adults. Nope. We don't know how to find other people that are interested in what we're doing.
It's also not so much that, yes, we don't know, but it's also time constraints, right? Most people go from work to home and then back and forth. So unless you are friends with your colleagues, which can happen, but
listen, I don't recommend limiting your friendships to just
only colleagues is
good to have friends outside of work.
It's good to have multiple circles.
Yeah. But yeah, so it is definitely a little harder to as adults, right? And then if you're a parent, it can be even worse.
For sure.
Because you're obviously your kids have priority, so sometimes that's why a lot of moms and dads kind of like gravitate towards each other, right? Same thing. They have something in common. Yeah. So we have this is our thing in common.
This is our thing in common. And if you also like us, let us know, like, what kind of events would you want us to host? We are, like, there's only a handful of us that are organizing this. There's four of us in total. And so we are limited by our own experiences, and we would really like to hear from you to see what has worked. What has worked in your area? What suggestions do you have for us?
What do you miss in your area? Maybe there's something you're like, I wish there was more of this, or
yeah,
you know.
And if you are in our general vicinity, please come and hang out with us. We would love to meet you.
We'll put the link down below.
We will put the link down below.
But
you're good at remembering putting links.
I do. Actually, I find it really cathartic. Okay, this is going to sound kind of, maybe not erotic, but this is going to sound a little...
Did you say erotic?
No, neurotic.
Woman. Baby girl.
Neurotic.
I'm way too asexual for that.
I was like, how did we get here?
No. A little neurotic.
She said neurotic.
So I have a goldfish memory. Long story short, because of my epilepsy, medical history, whatever, my short-term memory is absolute hot garbage. And so I often will get to the...
garbage.
Isn't it the other way
around? That was totally wrong, right?
Garbage chaud?
Garbage chaud.
This is giving me
De la poubelle chaud. Sorry.
Why? Like, des déchets chauds, mais okay.
Des déchets chauds.
I mean, all of this sounds weird, but
Please continue.
Anyway... I very often get to the end of a conversation and have no idea what I said in it. And this is not because I'm actively trying to forget that I talked to somebody or like did whatever, but it's just because like my brain will not absorb that. Yeah,
it's just your brand of neurospicy.
It's because I've been medicated for 20 years and I have essentially... Anyway, whatever. So what I like to do is I like to go back like the evening after we've podcasted, maybe the next morning, and I like to rewatch the episode, and I'll do the show notes at the same time, and then that gives me an opportunity to let what we said sink in, right? Because especially if we talked about something and I was like, oh, I was going to share that on Instagram, well then I remember to do it. Because my long-term memory is okay. It's just my short-term memory that's crappy. Yeah. So by watching it back a day later, it like reignites it in my brain and like helps make those connections to the long-term memory.
That's actually really smart to do.
Yeah. That is really cool.
So, but you know, like I said, 20 years of having this issue, you find some workarounds. So in my case, that just means like repetitive watching and listening of things. And so by rewatching our episodes, I not only get to do the show notes, but then I also get to remember what we talked about.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I watched them too.
Yep.
97 views, 95 of them were us.
Yeah.
Maybe not 95. But...
Maybe not 95. One of them. I do watch it back because I really like to... I don't immediately forget what we talked about, but I remember a lot of feelings that I had while we were chatting, and I like going back and checking if that came through the way that I felt it. Right?
Yeah,
I don't know
same.
if that makes sense. Like,
No.
I have really nice fuzzy feelings after hanging out with the two of you, like in the camera and like with you guys, especially when you put things in the comments, like, you know. So I just want to go back and be like, did that transfer the way that I was feeling it? And so it's nice for me to like go back and see, oh, you know, like this worked out, this didn't work out, etc.
Yeah, I think I'm very similar, mostly because I don't know if you feel that sometimes, but sometimes I'll say something and I'll watch again and I'll be like, that's not exactly how, like, it made more sense in my head. And then it comes out and it's almost like, not backwards, just like mixed. Like, yeah, like it's been blurred or blended in a different way. So it's which is the story of my life, because I've literally had teachers tell me like, these are great ideas, they're just jumbled everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how I talk sometimes.
Isn't the human experience so
interesting? Right?
So weird.
So it's just it's interesting.
I love people because we are really strange.
Yeah.
And everyone has something strangely unique about that.
Yeah.
Well, I love finding that out.
I forgot who said this. There's somebody who said, I'm probably going to misquote this, but essentially they said, there are no normal people out there. If there are any, I've never met them and I never want to meet them.
Aww.
Like,
that's really poetic.
Again, I'm not exactly sure if I'm saying, but you get the idea, right? And I love that essentially nobody's really just like normal. That's not a thing. We all have our quirks. We all have our, you know, like our way of life, our own little like challenges, and
And that's one thing about getting older that's just so, pardon my French, fucking great.
It's so good.
Right?
Yes.
Because, like, I'm 32 now, and the confidence that I have in myself as a human, with my quirks, with my flaws, with my interests, with my passions, at 32 is, like, way far and away above where I was at 22.
Yeah.
Miles ahead.
At
so
22,
much.
I was like, I'm horrible, I'm terrible, nobody likes me, I can do nothing good. All of this bad, like, complete lack of self-confidence in myself, in my abilities, in my knowledge, in my body, all of these things. And at 32, I'm like, she's a fat bitch, and she's fucking gorgeous. Like,
And she loves it.
It's kind of amazing.
It's a
how
different,
the course of your life experiences can give you that confidence in yourself, or if not in yourself, in your ability to say, screw what everybody else thinks.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say.
Right?
It's essentially, I feel like when you grow, like, to become a true adult almost, not that you ever really know what you're doing.
Oh,
but,
no, adulthood is a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. It's the biggest lie of all time.
It's a scam.
But it's the idea that you get to that point where you say, as long as I'm happy, who cares if people don't, like, who cares if people don't like it? Or obviously there are, it's not exactly all, but yet your confidence grows because you start... You stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
I just said it like 8 times.
You stop giving a fuck about what people think. You just start caring about what you think of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that it's kind of like very humbling to realize that you yourself, your own opinion is the one that really matters because it's your life. No one is going to care about you more than you do.
I saw this reel yesterday on Instagram that has been sitting in my brain in such a good way. And it was this clip of this girl, and she was like working it to the camera, like showing her fit, whatever. And it was captioned over the video, like, when your friends make fun of you because you want to become an influencer. And then it just all of a sudden went to, like, a complete zoom out of, like, city, town, globe, planet, universe. And then the caption became, does it really matter?
It doesn't.
I was like,
It doesn't.
I love that outlook. We are one teeny tiny little speck of life on one teeny tiny little rock floating through the vastness of space. What does it matter?
There's really nothing like a little bit of healthy nihilism.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much.
To get my spirits up. And I'm going to tell you what, I feel this way about my fiber practice as well.
Really?
There was a time in my life when I wanted to be with it. I wanted to make the latest things. I wanted to be on trend. I wanted to, like, get better at the things that were popular. Now I'm feeling like I could care less about what's on trend. I'm gonna do what I want to do because I like it regardless of whether it's, like, difficult or easy, or, like, if people think it's ugly, if people think
it's the
good.
latest trend or not, or
There's so much discourse online about, like, oh, like, knitting is so much prettier than crochet, or, like, crochet is so much more valuable than knitting, or, like, oh, if you cross stitch you don't really embroider because embroidery is, like, more dainty than it cross stitch. Like, I do not give a flying fuck about any of that. I just want to make what I want to make regardless of what anybody thinks about it.
And all these trends come back in, like, 20 years anyway.
Yeah,
Everything
that's
is
very
cyclical.
True. Yeah.
Like, look at I walked into a clothing store the other day, and it was all low-rise jeans.
Not
and,
again!
And, like, tank tops with the lace frill. And I was like, this was me in high school. I unironically wore these clothing in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And thought I was, the cat's pajamas.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
And it's coming back around again.
Yeah.
Me, it's like the trends about
terrifying.
socks that have, like, I forgot where people stand right now, but, like, there's
pulled
like,
up high.
like
crew
pulled
versus
up hot
ankle.
crew versus ankle versus everything. I'm like, it's a sock. I don't care what it looks like as long as it gets me to where I'm supposed to go.
But I will tell you, I bought a bunch of crew socks because I was like, oh, well, I mean, if that's what, like, the kids are wearing, let me give it a try.
Yeah.
I actually kind of love them.
Look,
Yeah?
let's just...
I actually love them because they don't, like, ball up under my
Okay, that's
They
yeah,
stay
that's
in
fair.
place.
Yeah.
ankle socks, like, ball up under my shoe. And, like, the crew ones, you can just, like, pull them up. And to be fair, when we make knitted socks,
We do
I
make
like to
longer.
make the leg a little longer.
Longer, yeah, same.
Yep.
Because then they peep over your boot, and that's pretty cute.
I think we're just all entering our eclectic granny era, and I love that for us.
What is that movement about the grannies with the purple hats?
No
There's
idea.
No idea.
Is it red hats, purple hats?
I don't
There's
know.
something about, there's like radical grannies that like go out with their tits out and purple hats or something.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I admire, like what I aspire to be. Is just like a you can't tell me nothing kind of granny.
I don't know.
Are you gonna look it
Yeah,
up?
I'm trying to see if there's something.
I don't know
but
if that's enough information.
Yeah, it would be. I'd have to like. Go
I think
for
they
whatever,
started
what
in like the
color is.
70s because you know
it was probably one of the feminist movements of what was
it
that?
sounds
Second
like
wave?
it.
Is that second wave feminism or third wave feminism?
I didn't know there was
Or
waves
are
of
we
feminism.
oh yes, many. Or are we in the third wave feminism now? I'm not
we
sure. I am not a scholar of gender studies, so I don't.
Me
know.
neither. If you're a scholar of gender studies, let us know what wave of feminism is this.
Where are we?
Where are we? What do we do?
Yep.
When are we?
When are we?
What even is time? What even is place?
What
Look
is
at that.
what
That
is
looks so
place?
good.
What is time?
Cute.
Okay, so I want to do like maybe a couple more rows.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do an opening
Right.
and do increases for the thumb.
Right. Nice. I guess that's another benefit of Nalbinding is that you can try it on as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But you know what? There's like also a big risk that I'm kind of really thrilled about.
Yeah.
Because it's like exciting. Is that once you make a stitch, you can't unmake a stitch.
Right, because
You can't frog this. If you
Yeah.
mess up, you
mess
start
up.
over.
You start over. Or you leave it
Because
there.
Every time I make a stitch, the entire length of yarn goes through it.
Okay.
So these are knots on top of knots on top of knots. I'm gonna
This
get
is-
closer and show you the
This is
texture.
literally like if knitting, crocheting, and sewing had a baby.
Is that...
Cover my face.
I think...
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Cool.
It's very cool. And like I said, it is thrilling. Because you can't mess up. Like, you can't. No one's gonna notice.
Yeah.
But it's exciting to do something sort of on the fly. There's no patterns to follow. You just do it.
Go.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that would be very scary for some people.
Mm-hmm.
No
Oh,
pattern.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I guess
true.
so.
But that's what comes with, just trying it out, right? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You start over? Okay, well, you start over.
You start over. Yeah, that's it. Literally, the stakes are so low.
It's not going to burst into flames if it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Correcto.
And it's only wrong if you say it's wrong. Because it's your project.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, a mistake is just your calling card.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. There's probably a mistake somewhere in there and that I haven't noticed, and you know what? It'll be my
It's
calling
an
card.
aesthetic choice.
Yeah, it's a design
This is
feature.
how we know it's mine. If somebody
Yeah.
tries to take credit, I'll be like, do you know where the mistake is? Because I do. It's glaring me in the face.
I feel like no one can really tell.
Nah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to pinpoint your mistakes that
No.
you can see in this
Exactly.
pattern.
Mostly
and I'm
because...
like right here. I
Yeah.
still can't tell.
Well, that's the thing, right? The difference is mostly because the person who's worked on it knows it best.
They've been staring at it.
They've
for the
been
last
staring at
50,
it for
60
like
hours of work.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
that's funny.
That is funny. We've been talking for about an hour.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This goes so fast.
Should we do a round of Nspiration? Let's try it. Let's try it.
Yes.
Bing. Freaking love it.
I'm never not going to be like so happy that you invested however much you did in getting those singles.
It was $12.50.
Amazing.
It was so well spent.
Amazing.
Money
so good.
well
I highly
spent.
Thank
recommend
you, anonymous artist on Fiverr, for
Yeah.
doing that.
We love
for
you.
us.
Yeah, they did a great job. Who wants to start with their Nspiration?
I'm going to go last.
Yeah, because she seems very... Do you want to go first?
You go first.
I'll go first. My inspiration for this week, or the past couple of weeks, has been a brand of, which I don't know if it's a brand, but a designing brand called Spectacle Strick.
Okay.
Spectacle Stricka. I believe they are Norwegian
That tracks.
or Danish.
One of the two. Strikke means, I think, in multiple languages. Multiple Scandinavian languages.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere in Scandinavia is Spectacle Stricka, and they have just the most beautiful samples and designs. They're just following their bliss and their joy. And that's what I would qualify as dopamine garments. It's like, nice. What do you want to put on? I want to put on all the colors, all the texture. I want to see every stitch. I'm not going to weave in my ends, and it's going to be all scraps. It's so good. And they are actually so popular and incredible that multiple high-end couture brands have started, like, releasing designs that look just like Spectacle Sticker.
Huh. Wow.
So, yeah. So, give them a look if you have a chance. I think you will be inspired just as much as I am in just, like, the freedom of playing with color and playing with texture without worrying about proper fit.
Right.
So that's what's really like sending me right now.
It sounds like controlled chaos, but in a good way.
It sounds like it. I think it very much is controlled chaos because you can tell that it's technically challenging. Like it's a technical challenge to make what they're making, but they also make it seem effortless and chaotic at the same time. So I love them. Spectacle Stricker.
Nice.
Carine, how about you?
For me, it's just discovering the Petite Knitter, who's a Canadian based in Nunavut.
You didn't know about her?
I did not know. So here's the thing about me, is I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram or on social media.
Must be nice.
I don't know a lot of names. I don't know, like, unless somebody shows me this, I don't know no drama. I don't know. I am oblivious to a lot of things.
Keep it that way. Save yourself.
So whenever someone's like, did you hear what's happening? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking
You can
about.
copy my homework because I am constantly online.
Yeah. But I just discovered her, or at least, well, actually, when we went to the Weavers and Spinners
the showcase
yesterday, and her book was there.
I loved it.
It was so good.
I love going to the Weavers and Spinners show every year.
Every November.
People are so amazing.
I know. It's nice because you get to see a lot of, like, different...
That's very Nspiring.
Yes. Well, that is also very Nspiring. But, like, yeah, the Petite Knitter, what I like about her style, or what I can tell, is there's a lot of neutral tones. And as much as I love color, there's something so elegant about neutral style, like neutral yarns. Like colors like beige and brown and just the natural, almost like the natural fiber color, right? And obviously her designs are freaking, like, I want everything.
She's inspired by the tundra.
Yes, and I love it.
Iqaluit.
Like, and she has a book called The Arctic Knits.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about and was at the event, actually, so damn it, we should have bought a copy. But we can always order it online. But yeah, so this is my inspiration for this week.
Yay!
That's awesome. She's great. Check her out.
She's incredible.
And she's got the cutest little bunny named Sasky, who inspires some of her patterns.
Does she actually live in Iqaluit?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Pete and I were there two years ago. It was an excellent trip. I felt a little, like, responsible to be extra careful not to, like, take any resources from that weren't offered, like, freely, and, like, make as small of a footprint as I could. Because it's such a remote community and such a tiny community that it's very, very difficult to get resources to the north. They're like the very, very high point in the north. But our friend Pete had an opportunity to go and invited me to come. And I
looked gorgeous from the photos.
Loved it. Just the sites alone. It's somehow, the sites are warm even though the weather is cold.
It's people.
That's what I've heard. It's the people.
Yeah, it's a very warm, emotionally warm environment. And it's so beautiful. Like, the rock formations were incredible to look at, and the flora is so different, but there is flora. Don't be fooled by the cold.
Well, the Inuit have been living up there for thousands of years.
Exactly.
Obviously, there are resources and natural resources available to sustain life up there.
Yeah, so. It's beautiful.
This is what I mean when I say we should have incentives to go more in Canada. I want to visit places like that, and I would wish for traveling to be more affordable to places like this.
Well, airlines are now starting to make changes to have these direct flights more available.
Yeah.
Because that was part of it before too. You wanted to go somewhere, you had to transfer a couple of times. That's what made it so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's starting to change now, thankfully.
That's good.
Yes.
And I love then that the petite knitter is taking like that feeling in those like sites and putting them into fiber arts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do too if I were surrounded by that inspiring beauty all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it helps that it's a cold place, so there's even more incentive to make warm clothing.
Exactly. What are you inspired by?
So,
Oh boy.
Buckle up,
She
apparently.
getting up.
She's getting ready. Wow.
I am not inspired this week. Well, I mean, I'm inspired every week, but I am actually knit vindicated this week. Vindication! Okay, so I feel like I need to, I don't know. Whenever I eat a big meal, I always tie up my hair. I feel like I'm getting that same feeling of like, I gotta buckle in,
She's
tie
getting
up my
ready.
hair, you know? Like, gotta
We're
go.
gonna throw punches, people.
It's not that big of a thing. But okay, so I guess more than a few months ago, I shared about how I wanted to knit my sister a sweater and how I had logged into Ravelry on her computer and I showed her like the search functions and how she had picked a couple of patterns and sent them to me. But then when I was looking at them, I had some issues because they didn't have any completed projects. There was basically no information online, not size inclusive, like very much walking.
Sucks.
I wouldn't say sucks because they were from like a knitting magazine, but
No, I mean
there was
sus, as in
sus.
suspicious.
Yes,
suspicious.
It would be like walking into a dark cave without a torch, right? Like you have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Like I just was not comfortable with the idea of working on those patterns. I also didn't really like how they looked, but that's only a little tiny part of it. Anyway,
Wow.
so we had
Sorry,
this
Meg.
whole big discussion, and people had some really great, helpful things to say in the comments about like what I should do and like how I should talk to my sister and whatever. Well, she was in town just like a week and a half ago, and we got talking about the sweater, and I showed her the yarn that I had purchased with the intention of making her a sweater. And then I said, hey, I know that you had picked these patterns, but like these were some of the issues. And she's like, yeah, no, I was really confused. Like there wasn't any like examples. Like I couldn't really see. So whatever. We figured it out when I logged her into Ravelry. Instead of clicking the next button, she clicked like 10. So she jumped like multiple pages in the search, which is why she got to the pages where there was no projects.
Okay.
Anyway, complete misunderstanding. Really funny. So I said, hey, there's a couple of designers who I think are very much up your alley. So why don't I'm going to send them to you on Instagram and you can look through like their feeds and you can tell me what you think, what you like, whatever. And she was like, yeah, totally. So I sent her a couple and she sends me back like some individual images of which patterns she really likes. And then she sends me this one photo and she goes, this one. This is the one. I love this one. And wasn't it not the sweater that I picked to make for her?
No.
Yes, it was the Ballard sweater by Sari Nordland. She was like, I love this. And I was like, vindication!
Because you had gone in this rabbit hole
To find one.
But not only that, it was literally because I think you said it kind of looked a lot like the one that she was like that you thought she wanted.
And
but
she
the design was better made. It was
had
nice
examples.
inclusive.
It was test knit. Like the designer actually had a place where if I had questions, I could go and I could contact for help. Like there were resources behind the pattern, and I knit some things by Sari Nordland, so I like the way she writes her patterns, and it's just like, yes. I don't know. So I feel very vindicated and also inspired by my past self to just like, remember to go with your gut.
Yeah, when your gut speaks to
Exactly.
you, 100%.
So part of me is like,
love
should
that
I have
this
just
happened.
Should I have just like started this? Should I have just started the sweater like ages ago? Like, should I have just started that one when I had first got the thoughts in like May or August, whenever it was? But then I didn't.
No, but I think it's still
Yeah.
a good choice
Yeah,
to
so-
have let your sister come to that conclusion
Yes.
by
Yes.
herself.
Yeah.
Well,
If she didn't like it, I would have just kept it for myself. So
honestly, I am so happy that this happened
Yeah.
because that
It's
was
awesome.
that was what you wanted to
That
make.
was what I wanted to make anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So now I just need to remember where I wrote down all her measurements so that I can get
Vindicated.
started, because I can't remember where I wrote them down. But that means I can start it. So now this is, to go back to the very beginning of the conversation, very much leading me into that whole let's get some shit done. So that I can clear up some bags and I can start this one without the like pressure of other gift knits and other
Yeah.
whips on the go. So
Nice. Speaking of whips, last remark of the podcast. Last time we went live, I promised myself and all of y'all that this year was going to be my stash year, in which I promised myself, starting on my birthday, this year until my birthday of next year, every new project that I make must include at least one skein from my stash.
It's a good project.
It's not a yarn ban. It's not a yarn diet. It's just an effort to get my stash moving where it rightfully deserves to be.
You've invested money in it.
Yeah.
Now put in the time.
So I have started a new project. My birthday cast on is the Gerbil Reheal. Yes, really. It's not a yarn ban. But my birthday cast on is now in my brand new Maple and Thread backpack. Thank you, sweetie, for buying it for me for my birthday. And it is the Viveka half fisherman's rib cardigan by, I think, My Favorite Things.
Ooh.
And I have
So
casted it
fuzzy.
on using
Beautiful.
leftover hand-me-down mohair that I got from my friend Sarah, and gift yarn that I got from my friend Kadam.
Nice.
Like a few years back, and I just hadn't like put it to work.
Yep.
And now I'm like, this is the time. This is the time. And like, look at it again.
It's gonna look.
It's gonna look so good.
Beautiful.
It's so soft. I could be like wrapped in this all day forever.
So is this something that's knit in pieces, or is this like you're gonna pick up the shoulders and knit forward?
This is the back.
Yes.
So this is the back. I'm gonna go all the way down to the
Armhole
the
bottom?
armhole,
Yep.
and then I'm gonna pick up right here on the edges to make the
Right.
front panels concurrently.
Right.
And then I'm going to join those front panels under the arm to go back and forth for the remainder of it.
So in 2 weeks when we go live, are we gonna be able to see you try on the top half of it?
I can't promise anything, but I did deliver on my initial
It is beautiful.
desire of using my stash more conscientiously and with
Yeah,
that
same.
being my priority. So I'm happy to report that I'm working on it.
Nice.
It's a really good way to be, right?
Yeah.
Like we've put so much money into our collection of yarns and notions and bags and all these things that it's all well and good for us to be able to sit and stare at it every day, but if we
Yeah.
purchased it with the intention of wearing it, why not?
It's also like, it's the squirrel mentality, right? You see something else that looks better and you're like, oh, look, that yarn. And then you look at that project, that, and then your mind gets scattered everywhere. And then whatever used to be like that thing that or that yarn that you really liked is like now the third best because you got something else even better, right?
It's like that Ariana Grande song that says like, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it.
But you know what, though?
But that's stopping.
I found, like, I took a skein of yarn with me to Knit City in May because I wanted to find a match for it for a larger sweater project. And I found that actually made me a lot more thoughtful in the purchasing while we were there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I have this quantity of yarn that I require for this sweater, and I have, this is the other half of it because it's a 2-color sweater. So I actually spent more time focused on finding the match than I did on, like, pretty.
Which is nice.
pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
Which meant that at the end of Knit City, I didn't spend as much as I did the year previous, but I came out with more intentional purchases.
But because you kind of approach it the way you do when you like, it's kind of like saying when you go to the groceries, do the groceries when you're hungry. Like, I feel like that's what you do when you
that
go.
so often.
No, but it's true.
Don't
when
do
you
it,
go
it's
to
not
like
worth
Knit
it.
City, for example, and you go with essentially a grocery list where I need this, I need to find certain things, then you're focused on finding those things. But if you go and you're all like, like, Jesus, take the wheel. Well, then you're essentially just setting yourself up for failure.
Absolutely. So keep me accountable, friends. I'm gonna be showing up with new cast-ons, and I'm happy to be asked. Oh yeah?
How long
Which
has that
one?
been in your stash?
How long has that been in your stash? And I'll answer truthfully.
I think we should all attempt that this year, because
Yeah.
I know that I have a very large stash as well.
Of beautiful, beautiful
Oh my God,
yarns.
I feel so grateful and so lucky and so privileged to have the collection that I do, and to be in a position financially where I can have the collection that I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, as you say, it's a lot, and it can be kind of overwhelming to have that much.
Exactly.
Especially when it's like, not only do I have this, but I have all of these plans for it, and that's more what's overwhelming than the actual size of the stash itself.
Yeah, it's the decision making.
All of the ideas of the things that I want to make.
Yeah. So that's our plans for the year. What's inspiring us and what we have on our needles.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna cut it here and just see all of you in 2 weeks again.
Online, or maybe in 1 week.
Or maybe in a week in person, yeah.
Or maybe a week in person if you're showing up for our movie day. Thanks so much for watching. We love doing this and sharing our practice with you and our thoughts and all of the perspectives of these 3 crazy pearls. So it's been nice to see you. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.